Okay, so if you want to understand fully this allergy testing film, it might be wise for you to watch some of the other previous 2 or 3 films before this one so that you get the whole story from beginning to end. Because there's some things I'm going to say here which are going to relate to past films in the playlist, which might make not so much sense if you haven't seen the films. I'm just giving you a little warning with that. The other film that I just talked about was after a test that I had done in May. And here I'm talking about a retest with kinesiology that I did at the 9th of August 2019. So May, June, July, August, 3 months afterwards. When I look at the list of things that I can reintroduce, there was white wine vinegar, spirit vinegar, and interestingly, on this next retest, she said foods that I should avoid is apple cider vinegar, which is relating to those vinegar things that I could have reintroduced. But here, I think maybe I'd regress slightly with those particular foods and that I should go back to avoiding them completely. So that was kind of interesting to see how the retesting, again, made things very specific on what I shouldn't do for the progression of me improving down this route of being able to eat more of these foods that I couldn't for many, many years. Now my foods I should avoid list was apple cider vinegar, celery, cider and beer, and all the rest was not on that list. So I was doing really, really well since March that year, which was when I started the process. And then foods that I can reintroduce had got longer, so was now malt, cheese in small quantities. Every so often, she put in brackets. She said that cheese is really hard to digest and that if you want to reintroduce that and eat that, even people that can eat anything, they shouldn't really have too much cheese because it is difficult to digest. Brewer's yeast, yeast extract, wine, shellfish, balsamic vinegar, mushrooms and apples. And then on my past films, I was talking about supplements. I was taking an enzyme, I was taking a probiotic, and I was taking something to help me with digesting and assimilating sugars. And now, so from March until August, all I need to continue with is Similase, which was the enzyme that helps me digest fats and proteins. So that had also diminished to just one supplement, which was amazing. So now I'd like to round up with moving forwards in time. So now it's 2021 and I only completely healed myself of food intolerances since the last 3 months. I did that through a different healing process. And so up until the beginning of August is when I could just eat absolutely anything, just all of a sudden, and I can tell you how I did that. And any quantity that I wanted, didn't matter. And I was like, oh my God, amazing. Up until that point, I was still eating very small quantities of even some of these foods that I could reintroduce. I was still not really having vinegar. I was still not really eating any cheese. I had tried prawns and I was okay on that, but literally kind of one prawn in a meal, not any more than that. Mushrooms, I hadn't gone there with mushrooms. I was eating apples again normally, so that was good. I'd gone a long way down the line, but I was still having probably 2 times a week reactions to these, foods that my body couldn't totally cope with yet. And it was still affecting my kind of day-to-day life and my week in general, because I'd get tired and then I have to wait until I would regain my strength and energy and vitality after having eaten those things by accident most of the time, because when you go out to eat with friends or you ask the question, what's in this food, to work out if I can eat it or not, and then people would forget something and then I'd be like, oh God, I can feel there's another reaction coming. So every time you go out and you want to have fun with friends, you can't necessarily eat what everyone else is eating, And for me, it created a kind of psychological barrier, and that I'd kind of preemptively be concerned about what I'd be eating that evening. And sometimes I would just take my own food, which I also hated doing because I felt different from everyone else. I felt apart from everyone else. People would ask me why I'm eating that and not the food that everyone else is eating. And I didn't enjoy that very much because I just didn't want to talk about my ailments and my issues and problems all the time. I was bored of it. I'd been going through this process a long time and I'd had it up to here. So yeah, now that I'm cured since the last 3 months, I don't have to think about any of that. I can eat whatever I want, whenever I want, and I can go out and eat what other people have made without being concerned about, asking what the ingredients are very specifically about, in that cake or in that salad or in that dish. So that's absolutely amazing. So now I'm going to talk about the next stage of the healing process and how I went all the way and completely got rid of this problem. I hope this little series has been interesting for you with kinesiology and food intolerances. And now I'll be moving on to the next phase, and I'll see you there in the next film. Bye.